Good morning, the friends of the plus 2 class. Regarding biology, the next topic is pollination. We will study today what is pollination, types of pollination, and agents of pollination. And pollination is the transfer of the male cell to the female cell, from the male part of the plant to the female part of the body. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma is called pollination. Pollination is only transfer and union of male cell with female cell, male gamete to female gamete, is called fertilization. That is the after pollination process. First of all, pollination is of two types: self-pollination, cross-pollination. Self-pollination is called autogamy. Autogamy means the pollen grains are transferred from the same flower, anther of the same flower to the stigma of the same flower. That is the self-pollination. And the cross-pollination is the transfer of the anther to the stigma of the other plant, maybe a plant of the same species. Two plants of the same species are genetically different, as two persons of the same species are genetically different, but species is same. So cross-pollination is in unisexual flowers, and self-pollination is bisexual flowers. And very interesting, bisexual flowers are called monoecious and unisexual flowers are dioecious. This is a very interesting term, right? It is to remember: bisexual, monoecious; unisexual, dioecious. Yes. So then autogamy in the same, this very beautiful diagram you can see from your book. The pollens are falling on the same plant, same flower, and the same flower of the different plants. Different plant, cross-pollination. And same autogamy is called self-pollination. Geitonogamy is the flower. In the same flower, pollen grains are transferred to the stigma, born on the same plant. Then in groundnut there is no chance of cross-pollination, because groundnut is underground. That is very interesting to know. That is the pollination is underground in the groundnut. Yes. Next, cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is called xenogamy, aerogamy. Cross-pollination is always genetically different flowers of the different plants. Self-pollination is only in bisexual flowers. Next, there are the agents and agencies of the cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is held by wind. The pollen grains transfer hundreds of the miles with the wind. The special term for the wind pollination is called anemophily. Don't misunderstand. Anema means animals. No, anemo means wind, and hydro means water, entomo means insect, ornitho means birds, malaco means snails, chiropterophily, bats. The different agencies which have help in cross-pollination are the cross-pollinator. Anemophily, you see the corn cob bhutta. Corn cob, the brown shape thread-like structures coming out of the corn cob are they are the stigma and styles. Stigma and style receive pollen grains. Anemophily, the pollen grains are very light. They are light. They fly with the wind hundreds of the miles. In pinus tree, from one forest to other forest, the pollen grains fly away with the wind. And cannabis, the flower produces so many pollen grains, 5 million pollen grains. They fall away. Hydrophily for water. Hydrophily is very interesting. In water, the pollen grains float and pollen grains fall on the floating stigma. Or in very interesting, in Valesian area, sorry, the pollen grains fall on the water and the stigma stick to the pollen grains, and pollen grain in water pollination is hydrophily. Hydrophily, the stigma is sticky, they are not scented, they are small. Zoophily, pollination by animals. The pollen grains stick to the skin of the animals and transferred from the other plants. Then entomophily, pollination by insect. Insect pollination is very interesting in salvia. In salvia you see lever mechanism. Lever mechanism, the insects sit on the plant and the pollen grains are stick to the back of the insect, and when it goes to the other flower, the stigma comes on the back of the insect, and the pollen grains are stick to the um, stigma. From anther to stigma, pollen grains are transferred from the one to other with the help of the insect. Ornithophilia, very interesting. Long beak of sunbird. When sunbird takes the honey from the flower, the anthers are stick to the beak of the sunbird, and from the when it goes to other flower, the stigma catches the pollen grains. So pollen grains transferred from one flower to other with many agents is called cross pollination. Tomorrow we will study very interesting post fertilization events or double fertilization. Very interesting question. See you morning. Thank you.